living together. So, and Mwema there has spoken with a lot of clarity. One thing Pastor Steve here and Mwema have said is on what we are doing to make sure that even we have the big contractors doing the big works, we have also been sensitive to know that there are small people, you know, Juakali people, who many a times people don't pay attention to them because they are small people there. They are trying to make a window here, make 2 doors in a month, make 3 windows in a week. We were very deliberate in making sure that we agree with the contractors that as you do this job, the doors and windows and everything else will not be done by you. They will be done by the Juakali people. You know, they will be done by the Juakali people because they are part of our society and part of lifting people, part of this bottom-up agenda. It is bottom-up is not a slogan. No, it's reality. You know, the person in the Juakali today who was making a door or 2 or 3 or 5 in a month, the Juakali person whose financial outlay, as Muhammad there says, was maybe 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000. Today, Juakali has a contract of, in Soweto alone, 720 million. 720 million is a contract for corporates, ordinarily. Big corporates. Now Mwema is reminding me, even them, they are now corporate. No, which is actually the, you know, just imagine how this program has corporatized what was Juakali. You know, what small people who could not on their own, unless you pull them together, they couldn't handle such a big contract. Today, they are handling big contracts. My brother here, Peter, 18 million shillings. I am sure now, Peter, when we are doing the 2,000 units, that is going to be about 180 million. Sasa ujipange. Tunaelewana, boss? Eh? So I think this is really the new Kenya we are all living in. And this is the reality that we envisaged in our plan to make sure that we're transforming Kenya. I want to ask you people in this audience, and those of us who are watching from wherever it is that we are watching, all the things that have been said here, from Maureen to Lillian to Peter here, to Steve there, to Jerusha here, to my dear sister Judy, all those things that have been said is the work of 2 years. Just 2 years. Just 2 years. Tell me, good people, what's going to happen in 5 years, in 10 years, in 15 years, in 20 years. This nation will change. This nation will change. And that is why we need to be patient with ourselves. We need not to be judgmental. You know, many people want a quick fix. Instant coffee is good, but there is no instant house or program like this. It takes time. It takes good planning. It takes good thinking. We've had to delay Peter. We've had to tell Peter here, wewe kwanza hii kitu bado haijaiva, wewe umeleta ikiwa mbichi. Rudisha hii dirisha, enda nyorosha hivi, enda paint vizuri, ndio kazi iwe sawa sawa. Kwa sababu hatutaki affordable housing iwe low quality. We want to keep the quality high. So this is what we must, and transformation of a nation, good people, doesn't take a flash. Transformation of a nation takes deliberate steps and a plan and patience and being meticulous. Most importantly, having the courage to make sure that we overcome headwinds and challenges and bumps, because that's the nature of any transformation. And so I just want to tell the good people of our nation that I am very confident about the future. If this can happen in 2 years, just imagine what's going to happen in 5 and 10 and 20 and 30. And that is really what we need to look at as a people. There will be many more Jerushas here. There will be many more Steves. There will be many more of the people that we are seeing today. They may be a few people today, but the multiplier of time is going to get more of our citizens into this space. So I'm very happy about that. And I'm very proud about this moment.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. The joy is palpable. You can't fake this stuff. I know we've run out of time, and we seriously out of time. And I still have our friends from the World Bank, who at least they made a speech. And I just want to just give you a minute each, World Bank and UN Habitat. For the World Bank, you've been a great supporter of the urban agenda. This program costs money. The biggest impediment to the success of this program is the physical infrastructure. In 1 minute, how do you see the World Bank partnering with us, to support this program so that we don't build houses without the physical, especially the big trunk? And then my brother Ishaku, 1 minute, please. The Constitution of Kenya talks about, in Article 43, talks about adequate housing. In 1 minute, can you just explain what adequate housing, because it is nowhere else defined in any law in Kenya, but Kenya is a signatory to the some of the protocols in the world, including the one to adequate housing. So you will be able to explain in 1 minute, and then Your Excellency, I will give it back to you so that you can sum it up here. And I'm sure there is nowhere else you want to be rather than here having this conversation. So Country Director, and then Ishaku, and then back to you, Your Excellency. Thank you so much.
PS, even though I could not understand most of what these people were saying, I could feel the excitement and happiness and the joy that they have about the affordable housing program. And I can also feel, Your Excellency, your passion and commitment to this program. Let me just say first that housing plays a pivotal catalytic role in urban transformation. It's not just housing, it's not just a shelter. It is the cornerstone of economic growth, job creation, and sustainable and inclusive urban development. No sustainable and inclusive urban development can happen without we at the World Bank, we're actually one of the biggest financiers globally for the housing sector, particularly for affordable housing. We've committed close to $30 billion across over 100 countries, and our IFC, our private sector arm, has also invested an additional $8 billion indirectly in housing. So it is a very, very important. You asked me the question, PS, of what can we do to make sure that there's infrastructure in place. Affordable housing cannot be an adequate housing without access to infrastructure, clearly. So I think a number of things. If you remember, the program we have, the Kenya Informal Settlements Improvement Project, a major part of that program, Your Excellency, it's actually about upgrading infrastructure in the informal settlements with improvement in the land tenure security, which I think it's also crucial. The PS talked about the cost of land in building housing. So that's one really is about directly we're helping to support. Second, In the Kenya Urban Development Program, we have the Kenya Urban Support Program, both of phase 1, phase 2. It's really about improving the capacity of the municipalities. Ultimately, most of these infrastructures, whether it's water supplies, roads, electricity and street lighting, and water and sanitation, these are provided by the municipalities. It is the capacity of the municipalities both to plan and to get the financing and then to implement these programs so that they have access to adequate infrastructure. Ultimately, we also need to think about, Your Excellency, that as more and more these municipalities become large urban centers, we will need to think about the overall financing of cities and municipalities. They cannot and should not be relying entirely on fiscal transfers from the central government or from development partners. Ultimately, these municipalities have to have their own source of financing, and that ultimately depends on their ability to foster faster growth that can create jobs and also create the kind of opportunities so that they can have the revenues to finance the infrastructure. There's no silver bullet, but I do believe there are important things that we can do to help to reduce the cost of infrastructure. You talked about the cost of construction in this country, whether these are the regulations on land acquisition, or the construction sector itself, and many of the materials that's needed for construction. Ultimately, we have to make doing business much easier in Kenya so that we can actually have higher growth. Thank you.
Thank you so much. A hand of applause. Moneshaku.
Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Kenya, all protocol observed. As I start, I would want to borrow the President's remarks during the Nakuru launch, where you clearly articulated that you were moving people from slums to estates and homes. That is to say, you were not only taking people to 4 walls and a roof. The issues of adequate housing is enshrined in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. 193 countries have signed, including Kenya. So it's important to us to know that adequate housing means more than just the roof, but also what Jerusha was talking about, Lillian and the markets, is communities we're creating, livable communities. And those are people that we create aspirations, livelihood, and a lot of the associated activity. So human rights, it's not just war, it's about creating that dynamic community for people to chase their dreams, for people to aspire. And the affordable housing program, I see it as one of those acupunctures in urban development. As it's done, the transformative nature is immense. It's a generational change, because we've seen today, Your Excellency, you were talking about the Juakalis, we're creating entrepreneurs. He just talked about credit line. Credit line Juakali was not the case, but these are entrepreneurs for the future. And we also see wealth creation, because these houses in 20, they pass it to generation. This is now wealth creation. It's not about money in the bank, but you're creating generational wealth. That will be passed along the communities in Kenya. So it's important that we need to continue to work on those markets to create livelihoods for people to be able to link to the affordable housing. So for us at Habitat, we've already, as our executive director just mentioned, for the next 4 years, one of our focus is housing, and we will be partnering with you to add those value addition, to fine tune certain things, but to also look at how do we create this body of capacity experts of construction. How do we make them continue to devolve in other arms, because the skills that they've developed would not be only housing, it could be in other infrastructure, it could be other big development. So we're looking forward to continue to partner with Your Excellency and provide the support where needed, and to do the creation of that hub to now fine tune, to do a lab. How do we do the knowledge management so that our next iterations will be finer and fine-tuned? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. A round of applause for our panel. Ladies and gentlemen, now I'm going to give it back to the main chief architect of this program and the builder number one, His Excellency the President. You can close it for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I think this program would not be the success it is without the input of many people. I cannot claim to take the credit. Many people have put this together. The leadership of Alice and especially Charles here at the ministry, the people of Kenya, you know, the people who make their contribution to the housing levy, their hard-earned money, they are the greatest transformers of our nation. They take the credit for what Jerusha is today, what Steve is, and all the good people who are here. But to thank also our partners. The World Bank here has been a solid partner. We had the first session of this meeting 2 years ago. They were here with us. They have worked with us under different programs, making sure that, number one, the planning is correct so that we avoid, future slips by making sure that we support our county to do the necessary plan infrastructure, make sure that there are roads, make sure that they support our program in providing for physical infrastructure, and also for ownership, titling. They have supported our titling program, which again confers ownership to all the good people here. They will have a document which will signify their ownership of the spaces that they have. So World Bank, we want to say we are truly grateful. We look forward to working with you into the future as we, in the words of our UN rep here, Habitat, that we are making it better. We are working towards getting a hub so that what lessons we have learned today, we can use them to improve the output tomorrow. And progressively, that helps us to develop a better program, much more efficient, much more cost-effective, and better for the ultimate beneficiaries of this program, and also for the general good of our nation. And so, to everybody here, and I really sincerely want to thank all the people who have spoken here. You people are great, I know Peter here has had to stop his work at the workshop. I don't know how he's going to earn his pay today. But thank you very much. And Jerusha for making time. And my good friend Peter here from Bahati. And Lillian, thank you very much for doing the CHP work that you're doing. And Maureen, I know you're waiting, but your wait is not going to be long. And Pastor, continue to pray for us so that this can succeed. And to all the people of Kenya and all the leaders who we are working together, the counties have been phenomenal. My sister Susan and all the governors, you've been, helpful to the members of parliament who supported this program. They passed the legislation, they interrogated the program, they provide oversight, they make sure that we spend the money well. The committee and all the members of parliament, I really want to very sincerely thank them. And all the contractors, the Juakali people and the people who support this program. One strange thing about this program, And forgive me if I have taken too long to talk about this program. Just forgive me. I am passionate about this. We can have this conversation for another 3 hours. I will be home with it. But to thank all the contractors, I was saying one major thing about this affordable housing and all the markets we are building. And for your information, we're not just thinking about our men in uniform, we are thinking about all the other contributors in this space. We're also thinking about our boys and girls, our sons and daughters in universities, TVETs, Kenya Medical Training colleges. We are building spaces for 177,000 young people in our TVETs, our colleges, our universities, because we also recognize that some of our sons and daughters in these institutions live in conditions that are not good. And that is why we have a program to do hostels for them. They will be able to pay maybe the same amount they are paying in the informal settlements where they're staying at the moment, but they will now be in very decent share. The thing I was saying is, the most strange thing is none of the contractors in this space comes from outside Kenya. All the contractors doing our affordable housing today are Kenyan contractors. I mean, it's phenomenal. You know, you would expect that you have big Chinese companies or some other companies from elsewhere. This affordable housing is being built by Kenyan contractors. And a very big thank you and congratulations to them. And to sum it up is to say that going into the future, as I said, we have a pipeline of 700,000 housing units that is already where we have identified land. We are designing, we are working on improving from what we have today, learning what different configurations of housing that would make much more sense to more Kenyans. We're getting feedback from people like Cherusha and others who are living there. What is it that we can do better? And they're working with the UN, as they have said, doing a lab where we can, you know, get more info, do more research, do a lot more R&D so that we can better deliver on this project. I just want to commit to the people of Kenya that we will make this program transparent. No public resources will be lost in this program. We will make it efficient. It is my commitment to make sure that this program will be above board. We will share as much information as possible. In fact, the construction costs are open. You know, before you even apply, we tell you, if you want to quote more than this, don't even waste your time, because we cannot accept any bids beyond what we have designed the house to cost us. And we also are very careful about quality. We are not going to take any substandard work. And I want to thank our professionals, the Institute of Engineers, the Institute of Architects. For your information, our Kenyan professionals have made a big contribution to the success of this program. They have reduced their fee from about 12% of the construction cost to 2.5%. That is a mark of patriotism. Because of the scale of what we are building, we negotiated with them. And I want to say this so that Kenyans can know that we have some patriotic Kenyans out there. Our engineers, our architects have provided their professional service to this housing program at 20% of the cost. Correct? I sat down with them. They looked at me in the eye. I looked at them in the eye and I told them, look, We are giving you a big job. This is our country. Let everybody make their contribution. They are the heroes of this project, those professionals. And they have kept the standard. I must commend them. They have kept the standard. And I want to tell them to continue making sure that the standards are high and we are not building anything that is substandard. And to finally tell the people of Kenya my commitment, I will not allow anybody to define me in terms of time and terms and elections. No. This project is not about how many terms you serve or how many, which elections come this way or that way. I want leadership in Kenya to be defined by how much impact we are making, how much transformation we are undertaking, and how good a foundation we are laying for generations to come. That is what Kenya should be defined. That is how leadership should be defined in Kenya. It's not how long you serve. It is not, all about those things. Is about how much of a difference are you making? How much of an impact are you making? How much transformation are we undertaking? And how solid a foundation are we building? Not for tomorrow, not for the next election, but for the next generation. That is my focus. And I want to encourage all of us as leaders to focus about the future. We have wasted a lot of time. We have wasted eternity chasing the next election, chasing the next most popular thing, and in the process, our country has suffered. We are going to change that trajectory by God's grace, and this country is going to go places. I am very happy to preside over the transformation of our country, and I want to encourage us to be part and parcel of this transformation. Asante sana, God bless you, and I wish you well.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. I also want to take this chance to thank the audience. Your Excellency, I don't know whether you checked, the people stayed put. It means that this conversation was hitting all the right points. Thank you so much for being patient. God bless you. I'm going to hand over back to Michael as I request the rest of the team to go down, and then Your Excellency, you can remain so that you can take the national anthem.
Maybe before the team goes, Your Excellency, with your permission, if we can just take one photo, allow me to invite the CS and Governor to join in this photo with His Excellency before we then conclude this particular session. And just for the sake of those who are remaining behind, the interactive sessions will be taking place after lunch, an hour after this. But for now, we'll take a photo, then call it a day with the anthem. We'll request that everybody else gets off stage. We leave His Excellency to take the anthem as our closing prayer this afternoon. Let us all be upstanding as we will now wind up with the national anthem. The anthem.